Hello, I'm Gator McKlusky. Welcome to my new series focused on classic film commentaries. Over 20 years ago, when DVDs first started coming out, one of the great features for film fanatics like myself were the alternate audio tracks dedicated to commentaries. They kind of brought me into the making of the film. Sometimes directors, actors, even screenwriters can really add enormous insight to the movies we love. So with the success of streaming films on services like Netflix and Amazon Prime, the lost art of commentaries have not yet found a platform outside of old school discs that have really gone the way of the 8-track tape, the record album, and the CD. DVDs and Blu-rays are now for purists, but most of you out there just stick to streaming media. So here will be my platform for sharing some of my favorite film commentaries. Now keep in mind, these videos will be designed for audio and there's not much to see as I can't show you the actual film in its entirety. But I'll try to present a professional looking backdrop with quality still images from the film to help keep the story going. Ideally, you would listen while doing other things and maybe perhaps resting on the couch, imagining the film and things described by our talented commentators. Or perhaps you can line up your version of the film and play it along with this video to further enhance your experience. Anyway, I hope this series is enjoyable for you. So sit back and enjoy our next feature presentation. The first time I saw the late great Burt Reynolds was in the 1974 film The Longest Yard. Some of you may be familiar with the Adam Sandler remake from 2005, thanks to endless airings on cable networks, but the original film is far superior in almost every way. Shortly after Adam Sandler's film was released, Burt got together with producer Albert Ruddy and sat down for this in-depth commentary detailing so many fascinating stories from that classic film. So let's sit back and enjoy the commentary from this 1974 classic, The Longest Yard.
Hi, this is Burt Reynolds, and I'm sitting next to my friend Al Ruddy. Oh, there's your name.
Whoa.
Yeah. And he produced a little picture, just a small picture before The Longest Yard called The Godfather. But your affection, you really have great affection for this picture just as much, don't you?
Burt, you know what's so funny about this movie? When I look back at it, I remember specifically going up to meet you in Utah when you were doing cat dancing. And I was so serious about what this movie was. And when I look back at it, I mean, this was never meant to be a comedy. It's your personality, your infusion into this thing and the things you improvised that made this into the movie it was. It was never supposed to be that way.
Well, I had a tremendous amount of help. Obviously, you can't just start improvising and having fun and being silly, but what was amazing was that Jimmy Hampton and I had kind of a little magic together, I mean, and the fact that we really liked each other. And the other thing was that Bob just let us go, and you encouraged it, you rascal, you. I remember this scene. I said to Bob, I don't think if I mistreat her as badly as it's written, the audience will never forgive me. And he said, that's your charm. They will.
I remember when we snuck this movie, they applauded. Remember that? We were stunned.
No, they applauded.
They applauded.
I don't know. I don't know why they disliked her. She didn't do anything wrong. It was just, she's just kind of,
It was. I mean, we were all stunned when the audience stood up and they clapped. That was before the era of being politically correct.
Yeah, so
you could smack a woman in those days and get away with it.
It was, Cagney hit a gal with a grapefruit today. That would cost you $100,000. From what I did to this girl, it would cost you 200 million.
Well, you know, the interesting thing was the genesis of this movie, the genesis of the story was there's a certain reality to it, because I knew a woman when I was going to college. She was one of the richest women in the United States. She married a football player, and who was a great star. And when he got badly hurt, he was relegated to finally working at a delicatessen, dropping sandwiches off, and she got rid of him. And the character always haunted me.
Yes.
It always haunted me. And that was the start of this whole thing, the Golden Boy. Now, there was no actor, I will tell you this, even though I'm not going to flatter you, Burt, because you've been flattered. There was no actor who could, at that moment, have done this part. You were a football player. You had a great deal of charm. You were a great actor, and I couldn't think of anybody else. You were the first and only person I ever went to in the movie.
Well, I appreciate that, and I love when anybody asks me which film I had the most fun on. This was what I wanted to do in my life. I wanted to play football and get paid for it, and I got to do it. But more than that, I was petrified of this scene, especially when I grabbed her, and Bob said, he said, no, I want you to grab her around the throat and lift her up. Yeah. Oh, right there. Oh, hello.
Hooray! The audience freaked when they saw that.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure they would say.
Yeah. You know, I will say one thing, and it's the last time I take credit completely for making this a comedy. I said, well, I always saw it as a kind of a comedy, even though only because it's you and I sitting here and no one else is going to hear this again, right?
Yes, right, never.
Of course.
And this car, which, as you remember, this is the only year they made this.
Yeah.
Was a Maserati Citroen. And I found out when I got in that baby, I told Hal Needham, I can do anything in this car.
It's true.
You could throw that thing on a right-hand turn. You could throw it as hard as you wanted to the right, and the body would somehow swing back under you.
Yeah, it had that.
Watch, look at that. See that?
Yeah,
See how
it had that hydro-pneumatic suspension that was very exotic at the time.
And this is in downtown. Well, they called it downtown in Savannah. This is in the park in Savannah. I'm driving. Needham, and we had Gary McClarty. They had some of the best stunt drivers in the business. And Hal
astounding stuff.
Yeah, Hal always likes to have stuff where you run and you run over a baby carriage. Yeah. I said, Hal, please, I can't do that. You know.
Look at that car. That's amazing.
That baby, and you know. I don't know if you remember that. Look, I got one of these.
I know you did.
And gave it to Dinah Shore.
To Dinah. Remember
it was her favorite car ever.
Remember you dropped it off in front of her house and put a big red ribbon over it for a birthday present?
That's right.
I remember Needham told me the car. Yeah.
That was I talked him into groceries instead of a baby carriage. Bad taste. Look, well, watch this thing swing back in. I mean, cars just didn't do that.
It was an amazing automobile.
Now, this is going over, I think, the Savannah River.
Yeah, the Big Bray Bridge.
And that boat cost you a fortune to bring that boat in there, didn't it?
Yes, it did. opening up the bridge. This was great stuff, though, Burt. I remember Needham told me ultimately he had to adjust and make the suspension imperfect because he couldn't get it to brake the way he wanted.
That's right.
It was so sophisticated.
It was.
Now, this is going to be very funny. You see the abuse this car took?
Yeah.
When you see what's going to happen when you dumped it in the bay?
Oh, that was, I never saw so many guys in the crew just crying. They all said, can't we just dump it halfway, just dip it? This baby, you know, this thing was brand new.
Brand new. We had the two of them.
The only flaw in this scene is you see the wire that's hooked onto it, the suspension, to pull it back up after we dunked it, like we could do it again. Right now, see the wire?
Oh,
right
yeah. Well, no, look.
But I'm pointing that out so everybody will now it's a movie. But think about this. After we pulled it back up, you couldn't ever drive it again.
We sold it, Bert.
I know, for $12 and 30.
No, we sold it for $7,000, which we paid for. It was the Burt Reynolds car. There were people that wanted to buy it.
You're kidding me.
That's why now you can understand why the wire was there, Bert.
Now this was improvised because the little guy and the other guy was a hell of a stunt man.
Yeah.
Guy on the other side. The little guy was Alfie Wise, who you and I love.
A miniature cop.
And I call him a miniature cop, which wasn't in the script.
What?
Why'd you dump her car in the bay?
I couldn't find a car wash.
A great interplay between the two guys, isn't it?
Step away from the bar, please. Step away from the bar.
Don't get pushy, cowboy.
See, now they're all okay as long as they don't put their hands on the guy.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't like that.
Hold that down. Hold him. Now we got you. We got you for stealing a car, drunken driving, drunk in public, and resisting arrest. You want to try for something else?
Yeah, I'm gonna make it taller.
You know, I will say this in looking back at it, Bert. It was a great setup for the movie. The whole sequence with her in the car and the cops.
I didn't realize till just now that the credits came after that moment. I mean, which is terrific.
Yeah.
Also, this music, you know, some music today is so dated. Usually, this is the right kind of music because it's right for that part of the country right now.
Yeah, it's true. And it doesn't jump out at you. It's indigenous music that fits into the background. But it's a great setup. You're into this movie, Bert.
Now, those guys walking with me, God bless them. I hope they're doing really well and everything. But these were prisoners. These were not. We took them out and let them be extras for the day. And when we checked in, as we walked through the door, I'll never forget the way this lady says Palm Beach County.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, and where are you from, please?
Palm Beach County.
Thank you, sir. Put the door down.
Palm Beach County.
Yeah.
Now that's Mike Henry, who was a linebacker for the Los Angeles Rams. And I'll tell you something, if you've never shaved, folks, a mustache with an electric razor,
No.
it hurts. It hurts. I mean... I later did that on the Johnny Carson show and got
huge laughs.
huge laughs.
Huge laughs.
No money, but a lot of laughs.
Anything else, sir?
That's it.
Now that's the man.
This is the classic heavy, right?
That's the man, Ed Lauder, who is a hell of an athlete. And we got so lucky, you know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you didn't even know anything and you just saw him sitting there, you'd say,
No, I'm
that is a real badass.
That's
man.
a badass.
You're in trouble.
And he's and the accent's real, you know.
Yeah. That's great stuff. You know, the interesting thing, again, for a movie that most people remember as a comedy, it's got some really violent, scary moments, like what's going to happen now, Bert.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing funny about this. You
No,
know?
there's nothing funny about this. This hurts.
Yeah, and it's scary. You know what he's got in mind.
Some pretty odd stuff. But I'm Captain Canal, and I'm gonna spell things out for you, boy. I run this prison. He sits behind that desk growing old. I'm out here busting heads. And I run a football team.
What football team?
My football team. Now, Hazen's gonna ask you to help coach. And you just tell him, no way. You know something, crew? I don't like you. You understand that?
Oh, yeah.
Attention, cell block 3A. Please report a schedule to your period assignment, except for Carpenter and account.
You remember this guy? He was one
Polish
of
Princess, yeah.
The Polish Princess, Michael Conrad, good actor. And were we lucky or what?
With Bernadette?
But Bernadette was, nobody really knew who Bernadette was at this
It's true.
She was on her way to New York to do a Broadway musical, and I went, "Oh, do you sing?" Duh. And nobody else would, except Elsa Lanchester and the Bride of Frankenstein, put their hair up like
That's
that.
Miss Beehive.
And Eddie Albert, God love him. Do you know I saw Eddie Albert last year? Al, he looks the same.
I know. Bert, well, when you look at his suit, he's got an American flag on there, you see?
Yeah.
He's a contemporary character. Look at him.
Oh, sure.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
Young people can learn a great deal from a skillfully played football game. Offense, defense.
He was the one piece of casting that, obviously after you, that Bob was adamant about.
Well, Bob had a history with Albert that went back. I think this guy was wonderful.
Yeah, he's great.
This guy was wonderful. That went back, I don't know, 10 pictures probably.
Yeah.
Played by great men.
Mort Marshall is the little guy, assistant warden, and he's a comedian, obviously.
We have something of a football team here ourselves, you know. First ranked, semi-pro Southeastern League.
Now, you know, Al, this was a line I worried about when he said, "What do you think of semi-pro football?" And I say, the line is written, watch.
Semi-pro's a joke.
I thought, I think I've made some enemies here.
Yeah.
You know?
In the prison, yeah.
Well, no, but just all those guys
general.
out there in America that play semi-pro football. But compared to Ray Nitschke, because we had some semi-pro football, a lot of semi-pro football in the movie.
Sure.
They could break the semi-pro's arm, leg, or foot.
In a
nose
heartbeat.
any second they
In a
want.
heartbeat.
It's a long way from semi-pro.
Well, the line is so great for your character because there's a certain arrogance, and he's not bullshitting.
No,
He doesn't want to get involved.
No, it's totally. If you said to Joe Namath, "What do you think of semi-pro football?" He'd say, "It's a joke."
It's a joke. Yeah, it is a joke.
Yeah.
Got something special.
You know, the interesting thing, Bert, when I'm looking at it now, is when we started on the movie with Bob had his normal group of actors he wanted to use.
Right.
He wanted to use Ernie Borgnine and Richard Jekyll.
Right.
And I said, Bob, we don't have the money for those guys. We're going to have to go with a lot of new faces.
Yeah.
And like Richard Keel, they were all their first movies. Bob Tessier. That was exciting about the movie.
That was not only exciting, but Richard Keel, who was an insurance salesman.
Yeah.
He's a guy that's 7 foot.
Yeah.
Life-changing experiences. Went from an insurance salesman to the next time I saw him, a month after this picture was finished, he was on his way to Greece to do the James Bond movie.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
And married a girl at the laundromat in this little town.
You're kidding.
Yeah. And
But it was exciting because people hadn't seen these people before.
hadn't seen him. Bob Tessier was the leader of Hell's Angels.
You remember they brought him out in chains and you're watching him.
Oh yeah, I mean, but Bob Tessier was the real deal too. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd like a word with you.
there are some guys, you know, that were excellent athletes, excellent football players, and then there was a bunch of guys who, like Mike Tyson, you know,
Yeah.
you wouldn't want to fight. Let me tell you something. Mike Tyson in a football uniform opposite Nitschke would kill him.
Oh,
Would kill him.
absolutely.
There's two totally different. There's a football shape and there's boxing shape. But Tessier was an alley fighter, street fighter, a Hell's Angels kind of guy. My makeup guy had a Harley Davidson, which had been absolutely totally redone. It was 20-some years old, and it had stolen at the end of the movie. And I called Tessier because I figured he had some connections with the boys,
really?
the boys on the bikes, and he said, "Just give me the serial number of the bike. On Friday, the bike will be in his front yard, or the guy who stole it." On that Friday, the bike was in his front yard.
Fantastic. Well, the interesting thing, again, I think sometimes you have to be lucky almost. It's almost fluky to really get a movie that works this well, Burt.
Oh, without a doubt.
And then I look back at, even this prison, this is the real prison out in the swamps in Georgia.
Oh, yeah. This is a prison that if you escape from it, after about an hour, you say, "How do I get back?"
Yeah, no one chases you.
Well, nobody
Where
chases
you
you
going?
because you can't go. You're in the swamp.
Yeah.
You go out and you're with water moccasins and you're up to your knees in mud, and the dogs are coming to eat you. And there's no there's no escape. It's just see this.
Yeah, look at this.
This is one of the prettiest places.
If you're a nice guy, then let's get on this.
Now,
patrol.
this is a high ground.
Yeah.
This is a high ground around there.
These are the real prisoners.
All these
too,
people
boy.
are real prisoners.
This is the only maximum security prison in the state of Georgia. And it's 250 miles from Atlanta, and it's about 250 miles from any other place. So when you're there, you ain't going anywhere.
You ain't going nowhere. You got a little town called Glenville. And
At Reedsville, remember Reedsville? The no-tell motel?
the no-tell motel. And this, that's Joe Cap, who, the guard, Joe Cap, who was, if you're a football fan,
Yeah, California.
He threw a ball like a dead duck, been shot. And all he did was win. He's one of the toughest, roughest guys you ever saw. And a wonderful guy, wonderful friend. That's done more for the Latino community than anybody. And this guy, Harry Caesar, boy, did Bob pull one out of the hat with him.
He was one of the old groups
I didn't
that
know.
Bob
I didn't know
always-
his work. He'd been around forever, but he'd always had just 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines. Bob gave him a wonderful part in this, and we got so close. What a wonderful actor.
Well,
Wonderful.
Bob said, that you will love this guy on film.
Yeah.
He has that quality that you fall in love with him. You like him. Now, the interesting thing is, Burt, I don't know if you recall the fact that you were living on the grounds of the prison.
Yes, I recall it very well.
Yes, Burt, you were one of the inmates there for about
I
6 weeks.
recall it every night when we'd close the door and think,
No talking there, Granny! Yes, boss.
I think there were three of us staying there, Hampton, myself, and one other actor.
But the other 2 guys had their bags packed all
They had
the
their
time.
bags packed.
In case you had to leave in a hurry.
And I was in the first bedroom, so they'd get me first. Oh, this crazy guy. Man, was he perfect for that part? Or
Perfect, Burt.
Perfect. I loved him.
He had a nice career.
Charlie Tyner.
He had a good career coming out of this movie, too.
Charlie Tyner became synonymous with this kind of a
Weird
rotten,
phrase.
mean SOB who always ratted on everybody. Because he looks a little bit like a rat.
Oh, yeah.
Like a weasel. Lucky.
A superstar.
And this
was
guy
Pop, yeah.
has been around, John Stedman, God love him. He'd been around since 1902 in movies. And again, hadn't had, too big a part. And what he does with it is a wonderful part. This guy.
This guy was this is a huge laugh, Burt.
Tony
When he-
Cacciatti.
Yeah, when he started doing the sit-ups and the hands up.
He is a physical fitness instructor for a lot of actors and a lot of people, and wonderful guy.
Well, again, when you look at this scene, Burt, if it wasn't you doing this scene, this is kind of a serious scene.
Yeah, well,
It's you're looking at him.
well-
It's how you're playing it.
yeah. If you let the guy come up and intimidate you, then you've lost. So my idea was that. So he does one-arm push-ups. That doesn't make him a football
No, it's
player.
upset.
And it also doesn't mean I can't kick his ass. Now, here's a great line.
None of us would have minded shaving points off of a football game, man. That's un-American.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now that's a wonderful line.
That is.
And boy, is it true. Because, in the South, we have two sports. We have football and spring football.
Yeah, it's true.
Why don't you do it?
No, but it is. It's a telling line in the movie. You can do anything. You can kill people.
Yeah, you kill people.
But you sell your team out. Fuck it.
Yeah, well, and we're all finding that out. The what's going on now? There he is. There he is.
Ray Nitschke.
Yeah. And what the hell is that? That is your first reaction when you see that face.
Ray Nitschke, for a lot of the younger kids should know, was an all-time tackle for the Green Bay Packers. One of the greatest guys that ever walked on a gridiron.
That's right, and who struck fear. Terry Bradshaw told me the first time he played against Nitschke, he was a rookie with hay coming out of his hair, ran out, and Nitschke came up in front of him, and he always had his two front teeth out when he played, and spit and hit Bradshaw right between the eyes, and Bradshaw handed him the ball. Just said, here, and he handed the ball. And Chuck Noll brought him out and screamed. I said, what the hell did you do that for? And he said, I don't know. Nitschke just scared him. Now,
Actually, when I met Ray the first time, was just before we start shooting. We had that party in the hotel in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And when I introduced myself to him, he was talking to me. He took his glass. He had a glass of beer. He put it on top of his head to shake my hand. His head was about 3 feet wide, flat.
Yeah,
he put the glass on top of his head.
Yeah, it was the table.
I mean, it was scary.
I asked him once, because he had a broken nose, and this is... See, that's what you're talking about right there, my reaction to that.
You're making this in no comment.
Who cares? I said, who in the world had the guts to break your nose? He said, I didn't break it. I didn't break this in a football game. I was in a bar, and I had a little fight in a bar, and the bartender had a big stick, and it was like a blackjack, and he came around and hit me in the face, broke my nose. He said, I said, were you upset? He said, I threw him through the window.
And we're on the 10th floor, yeah. Burt, I'm curious, did you when you in each of these scenes, were you talking to Bob how you wanted to play a little more in the comedy? And Bob
that's a very good question, and truthfully,
only because Bob Aldrich, for the audience, Bob Aldrich did all tough, ballsy movies. He never really did a comedy. Dirty Dozen, Twilight's
The
Last
Big Knife.
Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. He did serious movies, which is why I initially went to him, because we knew he could do it. So how did you handle it with Bob, and how you played the scenes?
I just prayed, because he had a wonderful sense of humor.
Yeah.
It was dark. It was very dark. I mean, his idea of something funny was breaking somebody's nose. But I thought if we can be honest and play relationship humor, which is the key to it, be very honest in what you do, he'll buy into it. And I said, Bob, just watch what we do here, and if we go over, I knew we'd never go over the top with Bob, and then we'd do the rehearsal, and you didn't get a lot of attaboys from Bob. Remember, he had that tongue sticking out of the side of his mouth, drinking 7 Coca-Colas, and he would go, okay, shoot it.
Yeah.
And not a lot of takes. I mean, I'd say 75% of this, you would know better than I was. Maybe 3 takes.
True. Oh, he didn't waste time.
No,
he didn't. And, the interesting thing is he shot this movie in 1:3:3. This is not even Panavision, because he was worried when they went to show it on television later, they'd scan the movie themselves. He said, I'm shooting this so no one can touch it when it gets on TV. It was a hard match.
Typical Bob.
He wouldn't give anyone a chance to mess with this movie. But I know he just fell in love with Burt, and actually did Burt's next movie after this.
While we were making the movie,
Hustle.
I was sent a script. I said, "Would you be interested in making it?" And he was to me like Ford was to Duke.
Yeah.
Duke called him Pappy. I called him Coach. And I'd say, "Coach." Now we thought this scene, Tony and I, both. We thought Laurel and Hardy.
Uh-huh.
And we showed this scene when I was on The Tonight Show to plug the movie. I knew how much Carson loved Laurel and Hardy. So I showed this scene. And Carson just screamed because it is. And you watch, there's a little thing I do here which Stan Laurel used to do, which is, he flicked his fingers.
With the hands.
Yeah. And the music, of course, which is, again, Aldrich's great touch, is Laurel and Hardy music.
It is. It's very smart scene.
You can't hear that music and think there's going to be something horrible going to happen. Also, we didn't know, because we were in the real swamps.
Yeah.
If there was going to be, now this is the flick of the fingers, I think, the Laurel moment. I didn't know if there was going to be a water moccasin I was going to pick up, because they were all over the place out there.
That's a scream. This is a scream, Burt. Do they have anything like this in the new one?
They sure do.
They
sure do.
Same thing?
Almost exactly.
Oh, it's just,
and it works.
Yeah.
It works. It's just as funny, and probably funnier. Adam's brilliant.
The thing is, Burt, that there's such a sense of reality. This is the real stuff.
Yeah.
This doesn't look like a Hollywood production.
No.
You're out in the swamps.
No, we're not on the back lot at Paramount. We're down there in the.
No, everyone forgets that we did this movie a very modest budget.
Very modest.
Like a 20th of what the new one cost.
Maybe less than that.
Yeah. That must have been fun in the mud, right? The crud.
You either had to make it fun or it was going to be the most miserable day of your life because you weren't going to get to take a shower for probably 4 or 5 hours after the shot was made. So, yeah, we had fun. But there's a line here that I was afraid of it. And when you're afraid of a line, you got to either do one or two things. You either got to try to change it or to just go for it. And it's this line here. And when he says,
I quit.
Not this line. He goes to hit me and says, "What makes you so tough?"
Oh, yeah. That's when he grabbed the baton.
Yeah.
What makes you so tough?
I don't know. It just comes natural.
And see, I didn't back off it.
Good.
And it works.
It works great. Works great.
Now this is the real deal.
This is the real sweat marks.
This is a real deal. You could put a pizza in there; it'd be done in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, and they put guys in there all day long.
No, this is a tough prison. It shakes you up a little when you come into the prison. There's a big sign over the entrance saying, "Enter at your own peril. We will not make a deal with any hostage to get you out alive." You say, "Oh, let me think about this for a minute."
Yeah, exactly right. Now, these guys look pretty good. The reason they look pretty good and not great is you got to believe that somehow we got a chance to win. But they look good. I mean, they look like a good high school team,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Well, there's so little time left now.
And they were all these guys had played football. I mean,
High school and
if not college, most of them had played small college football, and then you went on up to we had four pros, one in the Hall of Fame, Michigan, but we had Dino Washington. We had
what's his name from UCLA, your buddy.
Well, Mike Henry.
Mike, Joe Kepler. Then you had a lot of other guys.
Or Ernie Wheelwright, who played tight end for the Atlanta Falcons and was a piece of work. Oh, my Lord, was he a piece of work.
Purvis Atkins played at UCLA.
Purvis Atkins played for a guy who was the toughest coach in the nation in Mexico State.
I've decided, Mr. Crew.
But the guy that impressed, well, first of all, Sonny Sixkiller. Is that a great name?
Sonny Sixkiller. He was.
If you're a football player and your name is Sonny Sixkiller, you're an American Indian, and you play at Washington. I went up to visit Sonny after the picture was over. I spent 2 days up there with him, and there was a big sign in the middle because he went to the University of Washington, All-American 3 years. Big sign, and it's not a sign. It was like painted with a bunch of guys. It was like a state sign, right? And it said, "Nobody can fish in the off season but Sonny Sixkiller."
Really?
Yes.
Well, he had set all kinds of passing records. He was
yeah,
really a great quarterback.
See, I had him playing at halfback, which was a little bit of a. And there's a guy that never gets talked about enough, Ray Ogden, who great football player at Georgia and then played pro football before. He's in here, and he was a terrific ball player too. And
the movie became like you love football. Aldrich loved football. I mean, you can see it in the movie, and all the guys you got around you, Burt, who were real football players.
Well, you remember Pepper Martin?
Martin.
God love him. Pepper was, and I didn't realize how old Pepper was when we did this picture. Pepper probably was 50 when we did this, and he had a youthful quality about him. But Pepper was also a professional wrestler during that Gorgeous George era.
Yeah,
and that's why when we got into the physical stuff, he was so good at it. He
was,
Yeah, he was wonderful.
But again, it all fits together because this is Aldrich's dream movie. He wanted to be Woody Hayes. We used to kid him all the time. You were a great football player in college. You love football. I mean, you smell it in the movie.
Oh, yeah, you do.
It permeates the film.
Well, and the thing that's probably, it's the best review I ever got from any critic is that so many coaches, so many football that's Ogden there.
Yeah.
So many football players that I look up to. This is their favorite movie, and I'm really touched by that. I mean, Mike Ditka. This is his favorite movie.
Mike Ditka, yeah.
I'll take that over. There's Pepper Martin.
Pepper. Yeah, he's tough. Hey, I remember that on 2 or 3 different occasions on the West Coast, the coaches at UCLA and SC were running this game. We're running the movie for the teams the night before they were playing in the Rose Bowl.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
They loved it.
You get a free crack at the cards. Not to mention you have a chance to kill one of them. Legal!
Bullshit, I ain't saying.
That guy there, right there, that's Ernie Wheelwright. Ooh.
Ernie, yeah.
Big Ernie.
The beautiful grounds, Georgia State Penitentiary. The interesting thing, the Reedsville was the local town for the state. On the map, it shows you the population of Reedsville is 5,000. What they don't tell you is 3,000 people are in the jail.
Yeah, 3,000 in the jail.
In the prison.
And there's one light, and it just is a caution light. a little laundromat, and that's about it. I mean, there's nothing to it.
Mike Conrad.
Well, I appreciate the advice. Well, I can help you. I'm Nate Scarborough.
Nate Scarborough Giants?
Yeah. Step in my office. Thank you. I'm Paul Crew. Yeah, I know.
This was also a wonderful time, and Tracy Keenan Wynn deserves this credit for this totally, is the idea that I can't do this alone. You got to find another guy who really knows the game to help me coach. And you got a guy in there who played for the Giants.
Yeah, it's perfect. A perfect setup between Jimmy Hampton, who's your bud, and him. You have the good support system.
And there are at least 15 in this prison with enough experience to make this club.
And now he's talking about the fact that we haven't got any African Americans, which is a slight dip in speed on our part. And they haven't come around because they think that what we're doing is just bullshit. And my problem is to get them to come. And again, it goes back to the fact that I keep using Namath, but I think Namath is a good guy to use it. And I don't know today who has that sparkle. You know, Montana had it.
Yeah,
Joe Montana. But Montana didn't flaunt it, and Joe flaunted it, and this guy flaunted it.
That's true.
So that was the difference. And the irony is that I think blacks probably love Namath. In the fact that
they do, Burt.
That he wore the the fur coat and all that. I mean he's their kind of guy.
Of course.
I mean, if you got it, if you can walk the walk, you can talk the talk. I mean, they taught us that, and that's why we constantly end up singing or trying to sing. That's why my 16-year-old son. I have to listen to Nellie for 10 minutes before I can listen to Nat King Cole.
I know. I didn't know who Nellie was when I came out there the first time.
Yeah.
So the Nellie, I thought this the wardrobe girl.
Yeah. Nellie, by the way, had number 1 and number 2 in the nation. And he also was a hell of a football player.
Oh, it's marvelous.
I get you steroids, vitamins, greenies, anything you want. You name it, I'm the best hustler.
That's another thing in prison, by the way, that you can get anything you want if you have
the right connections.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is, remember the whole thing with the African Americans, bro. In the early 70s, when we were shooting, they didn't have the integration in the southern prisons like they do today. It was really, I mean, there's 2 disparate groups. The blacks stayed by themselves, and there was no integration at all.
Oh, well, you know something? You go to any prison, the big prisons, and you're going to have a separation of neo-Nazis and
the Aryan Nation.
And then Latinos and the blacks. And if I get sent to prison, I got just pray that, they're all fans.
You could cross the line. If there's one Jewish accountant, you can work with him too.
Yeah, go with one guy. Now, that guy's name is Sonny Sawyer.
Yeah.
And he was a local Georgia actor who, out of this, got a running part on the television series The Dukes of Hazzard.
That's right, he did.
Yeah.
Which you're doing now.
Which I'm about to do, yeah.
Isn't that bizarre?
It's as Charles Nelson Raleigh says, it all goes in a circle. Now, that's Sonny Sixscully.
That's Sonny Sixscully, yeah.
Where? Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, you?
Prison.
First thing we got to do is get you transferred out of here and on the football field.
How?
We're not going to touch that.
No,
don't go there. No, it's too easy.
Yeah,
it's too easy.
No, it's cool.
Okay, step away from it. Now, here's Richard Kyle. He was an insurance salesman who, believe it or not, this is all true, folks. He 7 foot. He goes to the little laundromat. He meets a girl who is 5 foot tall, maybe. Falls in love with her. She had never been to Atlanta, Al. She'd never been to Atlanta. They get married. And as I told you, a month after this movie was over, I see him on the airport. He's got his little bride with him. And they're going to Greece to make, the James Bond movie. And I looked at her and I thought, isn't there a slight kind of culture shock to you going from Reidsville to Los Angeles and now to Greece? But, that's the movie business.
Yeah. It was amazing. But again, the excitement, we saw a lot of new faces in this movie.
Yeah.
With Kyle, with Bob.
A lot of new faces and a lot of guys who out of this movie got a tremendous amount of work.
And they got careers coming out of it.
Yeah.
And again, some of the other faces, as you say, that Bob had, that you kind of knew who they were. They weren't stars, but they were, kind of guys you
solid
liked.
Actors, just waiting around for somebody to give them more than.
Yeah, I would say after you and Eddie Albert, it dropped off. You didn't know who anyone really was.
Yeah, well, there were these were guys who did 3 days, 4 days, or 3 lines.
Yeah, just make a living as character.
Conrad had come off of Hill Street Blues kind of hot.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. In fact, I think he won an Emmy for it.
Nate, if you're thinking about winning this game,
this is an important line.
You're as crazy as he is.
Well, maybe so. But you spent 14 years in this tank. And you begin to understand that you've only got 2 things left they can't sweat out of you or beat out of you. Your balls. You better hang on to them because they're about the only thing you're going to have when you get out of here.
For some reason, I never understood why Bob didn't quite get along with Michael. But when he said that line, and we did this scene, Aldrich said, "Good job. Give the man a Coca-Cola." Yeah. Now, what was it? Was it some kind of candy bar? You remember?
I don't remember it. I know he always had the sweets.
There was a special little candy, and if you got that candy, it was like the Oscar of the day.
Yeah.
And he gave it to Michael, and Michael was almost cried because Bob was on his case, all the time.
No, we used to call him the Polish Princess.
They called him the Polish Princess in front of everybody.
I know.
Yeah, and the guy was 6'3" and not by any means wouldn't step away from anyone. But
no, you're right about that, though.
Yeah.
Some guys Bob had a natural affinity for.
Yeah.
And he just didn't have it with Mike.
I don't know why.
But that was a great scene, Burt.
Oh, well, and he was great in it.
It was a great scene.
Now, here's 2 terrific actors. And good guy, that's Purvis Atkins, All-American.
Figured you did.
A flyer. The guy on the left is Dino Washington, another great football, terrific receiver.
The interesting thing about the movie is this was the first sports movie that had ever become a big commercial success at the time. This is the first. This kicked off a whole genre of movies.
Oh, yeah.
Paul Newman did Slapshot. There was suddenly 20 sports movies. Nobody wanted to do this movie.
And one of the best ones I ever saw in North Dallas 40.
Yeah.
I think that Nick Nolte was incredible in it.
But nobody wanted to touch sports. I mean, it took 5 years to get this movie made.
Well, because it was a kiss of death to do a sport.
Yeah, he said, you can get free football on television.
You remember how everybody said no women will go to this movie?
None.
I remember the first screening that we went to, women were running up and down the aisle screaming like they were at a real game. It was amazing.
The thing that shocked Paramount was more women liked this movie. Like 97% of the women, as opposed to 92% of women loved it. There was you and sexy and macho, and emotionally they got involved in it.
Well, we're playing a semi-pro team. Plus the fact that I haven't picked up.
Well, if you think about it in a strange way, most men don't think that women think like we do. But if I could go see a movie with 100 women prisoners, I'd be interested in that.
Me too, yeah. You know, I remember.
Now that, by the way,
that was you.
I've had 500 people ask me, how many times did you do that? And you're here as a witness. I did it once.
It's true.
I could do that. I couldn't do a lot of things, but I could throw a ball through a tire all day.
No, that's true. It's throwing to someone moving was difficult.
That's right.
The tire was easy.
No, the tire didn't attack you.
You were perfect for this part, Brian.
This he let me just have fun with.
And my executive assistant, Mr. Nate Scarborough, will be happy.
Because the payoff of the speech, whatever it is don't anybody hurt me. Don't let anybody hurt me. That's the whole idea.
The one thing that you're going to have to remember, one most important factor, is to protect your quarterback.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. That's no bullshit. If anything happens to me, if I get hurt, we're going to have to live with the fact that we had one chance. One chance in a million to humiliate those bastards.
What I'm really saying is, we'll have to live with the fact
that I got destroyed.
I didn't live. You gotta.
No, but again, what's really great is you're shifting gears in this scene.
Yeah.
It's funny, and then there's that moment. That's real, Burt.
Is he really going to try to win this game?
Yeah, but they're going to have one shot in their life. If anything happens to you, they're not going to.
They're never going to play this game again next year.
No.
And as we found out after we left, we weren't out of town before the stadium was torn down and the goalposts.
Maximum is 10. All right, man.
This is the big guy who would never run through tires, and he's not faking this. This is how bad he ran.
Yeah. He doing 2, 3.
3 of them. Now that guy, that's the guy I was telling you about that could play. These guys couldn't play. That's how most of them ran it.
Come on, Sonny. Sonny?
Oh, Sonny. That's Sonny.
All right, Granny. There you go, Granny. 6.
There's such a nice, lean, tough
Yep.
feel to this movie, including the camera work. There's nothing sophisticated about camera movement here, Burt.
Well,
you know what I mean?
But
It's straight
I
ahead.
don't like. I'm not a fan of that. Moving the camera all over the place.
Rack focus.
I'm
none of
a
that.
John Ford guy. You set the camera down, let the actors act.
Yeah.
And again, if you got a football team together in a prison, this is exactly what would happen. They get a chance to hit each other. You think they're going to say, let's play by the rules.
Yeah.
Good idea. That's it. Nice tackle, Randall. Hey, Coach. Where the hell are all those goddamn specialists you promised me?
Bob Tessie.
This is the guy that got the motorcycle back. And I never figured out why guys that are built like this and look like this take karate lessons. What they need it for. You know what I mean? Skinny guys take it. But this guy was a triple black belt karate and taekwondo. These are all the real stuff that he did, the Zen stuff.
That's so cool.
Nobody's ever had to get to that.
No one's ever asked him.
Paul?
I smell a rat.
Hello, Unger. Paul.
I had no idea what he was going to do here, but I could feel his hand behind me. And
he's so creepy, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm better than he is. Let me prove it to you.
Beat it, Unger.
Fuck off!
Great reading.
Yeah, it gets real perverse. We could get real.
Yeah.
No, I'm crazy about you. I think you're terrific.
Friendship is something that should never be taken lightly, Paul.
I don't know what this guy's in prison for, but I can tell you it was very depraved and bad. You know.
Yeah.
Those fingers, you don't want them on. No, they've been bad places.
No, it's great stuff, Burt. The work, the contrast in the characters.
Well, it'd be an honor and a privilege, Uncle. Now, if you'll just excuse me.
Paul? You sure about that? I can't be manager.
Now, the subtext of "you're sure about that" is,
of course,
I'm now going to have to kill you.
Going the other way now.
Now it's getting a little serious.
You burned down the house and roasted 5 people he didn't like.
Yeah, put it in my hands.
Come out, boy. Come out.
Come out, boy.
The nice thing about the guards and the extras at this prison is you knew they'd be there the next day. You'd have the same. No one was leaving.
Nobody was going to go out and party.
No, they were there for 20 years.
That guard was going to be the next day.
You know how to play football?
Yeah.
Good. Would you like to play football with us inmates?
This is his first dialogue he ever had in a movie.
Yeah.
And you know who used him two times after this? Clint. He's who can spot, as you know.
That's right.
And he picks everybody because he doesn't read anybody, as you know. Just produced his last film. He looks and says, I want that person.
That look, yeah.
I want that guy. So he doesn't want you to read. I want you. I mean, I want what
you know, Clint comes from the early days in Italy with Fellini. You know, they liked the way someone
faces.
They get someone else to loop the lines.
Sure, faces. Now we said he had a broken nose. It wasn't hard to believe that nose was broken because it was already going all over.
This was a crowd stopper. This scene, Burt. This was a crowd stopper. When you,
yeah.
He broke my nose. I'm gonna fix it.
Look at that.
Actually, it does look better on how you look at it in the film.
Oh, it looks 100% better, doesn't it?
100%?
Yeah.
It does?
Yeah.
Now, getting Tessier to say, I'm sorry, was tough.
He did that on purpose.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Tell him you... Please.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, I don't give a damn if you've been acting 40 years. You can't do it any better than he just did that. And that's because he did it as Bob Tessier.
It's true.
Oh, okay.
That's true. You're only going to push him so far. He's agreed to do it
I'll
himself.
say I'm sorry, but you're barely going to hear it.
I'm gonna.
You better grab it, and because you ain't going to get but one.
All right. What about the rest of the team? Outside of crew, the only one who looks like anything is Granville.
It's the little things that you notice. You know, I know it's like, this is why he's a good actor. His tie is perfect. The shirt is perfect, and the other guards are not.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that's an actor who said, you know, I don't want to show any perspiration. I don't want to show any sweat. I'm Knauer.
You couldn't have cast him better. Oh, here's Ray. Look. I mean, look at that head. Look at that head.
No, you're right. You could put a salad on there.
Sure. Too cute. That's what you all said last year before we lost Anacott Steel. Remember?
That's what y'all said before we lost to Anacott Steel. Now, look at the scar on Ray's cheek.
Yeah.
You just start seeing look at that. Look at those two faces. Those are guys that have played the game.
Boy.
And played it in the highest.
The highest levels. The highest levels, no question. They were for real. Those are for real.
3 Super Bowl teams right there.
You know, I remember when I was having trouble getting this movie made after The Godfather, Mario Puzo would say, why would you want to do a movie like this after The Godfather? It's a prison movie, some guys playing football. I said, Mario, you can't be in the business of trying to top yourself. I believe this is a really exciting movie. Well, 2 weeks after the movie opened, Burt, his kids had been out to see it in Bayshore, Long Island, 3 times. He said, I finally went to see it myself. He said, you taught me a big thing about the business. I was screaming myself at the end that everything had to stand on itself, that you can't lay him compared to anything else. It was so unique and so marvelous that I was screaming in the movie.
That's wonderful. Well, he's an amazing guy in that he did keep topping himself, didn't he? I mean, in terms of...
True.
Yeah.
It's true. But, it was... I love this movie on one level. I love this movie more than anything I've ever done because I had such a commitment. But you remember what happened. They pulled the plug on this movie 3 weeks before it was starting.
I remember I was shattered because I was meeting with the few actors that had been cast in L.A. down at the park, and we were running and throwing the ball and trying to get in shape, and suddenly we got the word, it's not going to be done.
It's going to be over.
Yeah.
I mean, the head of the studio said, I don't believe in this movie. Burt Reynolds, a guy's doing Cosmopolitan magazine, is a sex thing, and Bob Aldrich is old fat director. I don't believe in the movie. So they pulled the plug on it. I called up the head of production because they knew I had the money coming off The Godfather. Wait, we'll talk about this later. Talk about this now, Burt, with the blank.
Well, the thing about this scene was that we look up and all of a sudden these guys show up, and we know if we got them, we might have a chance.
Yeah.
My character doesn't think we got a chance of winning, but I think we might be able to stay with him.
And he may not get killed.
We may not, and I personally may not get killed. Yeah. I'll have somebody to throw to.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some speed.
Looks like we've come to terms.
This is one of the turning points in the movie.
There goes the neighborhood.
That also, it's a great line.
Yeah.
Harry Caesar said, there goes the neighborhood. This was a scene that is the actual warden of the prison's house.
That's his house.
That's his house. And because it was a great looking house, it was across from the prison. Yes. And Bob, I thought, again, this is all just, he's so smart. He just gets on the dolly out in the middle of the road, and we take a walk. And so it won't be so static, just standing talking with a bunch of guards standing around. And I've got to say to this guy, which is the toughest thing in the world for my character to say, I don't want my guys to be hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, a guy who sold out his own teammates.
Yeah, I'll speak to the captain on both teams' matters, yeah? Thank you, sir. Mr. Crew, just what is it you have up your sleeve? I'm just trying to give you a football team one. And along the way, maybe give the men some pride and some dignity. Of course, only for a little while. I know you got something more bouncing around inside that head of yours. You want a game, right? Mm-hmm. My men don't have a chance in hell winning that game. You know it. I know it. I just don't want them to know it. Okay?
Right.
Yeah. I don't want them to get hurt.
Yeah.
Now, these bunch of animals, you give them food. John Stedman, I love him.
What have you done for me lately?
Today may be the high point of a long and costly career.
That's good.
And that is the actual cafeteria in the prison.
And the actual food.
No, that they ain't got no food like that in there. That food was brought in from the,
How would you like the bean machine to have actual game films of the guardsmen in action. Can you do that? Warden's very...
Do you know how many teams, Al, today are called the Mean Machine? I mean, I hear it on television once a week.
Yeah, no, it's almost a part of, it's like a generic term.
Yeah.
The Mean Machine.
Service.
You know, they did call it the Mean Machine in Europe.
Yeah, I know they did.
It was done as a sequel 3 years ago called The Mean Machine, Part 2.
The warden's expecting you. Won't you come this way? Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
What a doll she is. What a doll.
Great.
Now this lady, what's won 3 Tonys, I guess?
Yeah.
Maybe 4.
I'm glad you're not in the swamp anymore. That can ruin a man.
Oh, she's fantastic.
We don't have a great deal of time. We have 15 minutes.
Oh,
The game films.
thank you. That's terrific.
Like I said, we only have 15 minutes.
Oh. Oh.
Is this in the new movie?
It is, and Cloris Leachman, who Adam doesn't have to do anything. She's on him like a bad gold, and he just,
Really?
Oh yeah, and you know, Cloris is crazy and wonderful.
Yeah.
Bernadette, I don't think Bernadette ever played anything like this.
No.
And she told me that people constantly talked to her like she had one of the leads in the picture when she worked, total of maybe 2 days.
Yeah,
on
that's
film.
2 days.
Schagner! Schagner!
Yeah.
You hit him high like that, he's gonna break your back. Breaks your back. Gonna break the superstar's back.
Don't worry about him. I'll get that son of a bitch with an MP. Ready, set. Ready, set.
Now, you take this bandage, you dip it into the plaster of Paris, you wrap it around the cast, and in 50...
They actually used to do that in the old days. You can't now. You now can't wear a cast like that. But I remember in the old days when I was playing, if you got your hand broke, that was one of the best things that could happen because you had a major weapon.
You put in plaster?
Oh yeah, and you got to say hello to people.
What we have here in Carmen parlance is known as a set of brass knuckles.
Temporary disabilities. Balls, gut, ribs.
You got it? Got it! The ball is snapped, and you go into your opponent, go into him, blocking him with your left arm, and bring this hand up into his chin. And I'll guarantee you, gentlemen, that he will be incapacitated for the next several moments.
Now we're criminals. We got to play like criminals.
All right, men, now here's the play we're going to use. I don't think the guards know this formation. It's called incidental punishment after the ball is blown dead. Any man you tackle gets an extra elbow, knee, or kick in the mouth. Got it?
Got it!
Now this scene, you and I have talked about many times.
This one when you improvise.
Yeah, actually Jimmy and I, Pappy met me the night before the scene and said, you know, it's not enough warmth in this scene. And I thought about one of the great human interest stories at that time going on was a very famous quarterback whose mother and father were blind and had never seen him play. He went on and played pro ball in Boston, but they never saw him play.
You are. There's one thing still bothers me.
And so I thought, well, I'll do a playback on that so you'll feel sorry for me. And then the payoff
The money.
at the end of it is, as you'll see, is that really true? Because I say it exactly like it's the most
I never gave a shit about food.
And
Oh, yeah.
And you brilliantly put some music right here.
The only thing I ever cared about is my old man. My old man was blind. Never saw me play.
That quarterback's name was Jim Plunkett.
Jim Plunkett, yeah.
Great quarterback.
San Francisco, Kevin.
Nickels and dimes playing pool. Trying to make enough money to take care of him. I figured when I got in pro ball, I'd make one big killing.
The end of this scene is what makes it.
That's right. That's right. But see, that's what
No.
it didn't have.
Yeah.
You got to be able to have the audience think, oh, no wonder he did it.
Yeah, of course. Look.
And the son of a bitch up and died on me. You buy that? Well, that's good, because that's bullshit, too.
No, but you know something, Bert? What I always felt about that, you never knew.
I'll tell you the honest truth. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Money.
He would never be the kind of character who was looking to explain or get sympathy from anybody.
No.
He may let his guard down 1 minute, but he said, "You believe that? That's bullshit."
But the more important thing, as you have told me a million times, and you've always been right about this, if you can tell a movie in one sentence and people get it, you got a hit. The Guards have a football team. The convicts get a football team. They play each other. But underneath that was the most important thing of all, is that you got a guy who sold out, who was making $1 million and sold out because he didn't care about anybody but himself, and he learns how to be somebody who cares about other people from a bunch of murderers and cutthroats and convicts, and what he does in this game when he decides to go for it is put himself on the line and be there maybe for 25, 30 more years.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a guy, again, it's emblematic of the whole team, but this is a person who becomes reborn in this, and he gets a final chance to redeem himself.
Yeah, and again, we all want to redeem ourselves if everybody in the world is going to pat us on the back.
Yeah.
It's real tough to redeem yourself, and nobody know it but you and whoever is up there.
It's true. In a football game, no one's ever going to know, ever even mentioned again.
Yeah.
On one. Ready?
Yeah. This was very clever, this idea of the hypodermic squirting this thing into the light bulb is pretty damn clever.
Well, you know, Tracy Keenan Wynn had done a movie called The Glass House for ABC, which I had seen. And he was the writer who literally made the story glued together properly.
Absolutely.
And this was his idea.
Now this guy with the ball now is a flyer. You can tell certain guys are flyers just by the way they
watching them come around.
Yeah. Now what he expects is, this is my cell, is that I'm going to come in and turn the light on. He doesn't expect that caretaker's going to come there first.
I remember when Bob shot this scene, they had 2 or 3 guys standing around to get him out of that rubber suit because he really lit up.
I'll tell you, what happened was he had never done a fire gag. And he's one of the toughest stuntmen in the business, Frank Orsatti. And he put that fire suit on, and he was... it was brand new in those days. In the old days when I started, and I got set on fire a couple of times, they just set me on fire, you know.
And then they try to put it out.
Try to put it out. But it's claustrophobic, and he he didn't realize that when you go up, especially the way Bob shot this, he goes up and you, look at this.
Yeah.
I mean, and he was in there for maybe 3.5 minutes. 3.5 minutes is a long time to be burning. Look at that fire.
Yeah,
that's a guy inside. That's not just a ball of wax burning. That's a guy.
I remember when they pulled him out of that thing. They got that rubber suit off. He was soaking wet.
He was soaking wet, and he was almost a little bit out of it.
Yeah,
I mean.
yeah.
We commend the soul of James Caretaker Farrell.
This was the actual Reverend at the prison.
At the prison.
And that was, which was a little scary, the actual graveyard.
The guy never became one of the great evangelists.
He ain't Robert Schuller.
No, not Robert Schuller. He's not. He's not Pat Roberts, and he never made the big leagues.
I'd rather be Robert Schuller than Pat Robertson. It's a personal preference. Nice shot.
Nice.
A very un-Bob Aldrich, that shot.
That's true. You know that? That's almost arty, isn't it?
That's almost arty. That's almost a shot now. Now, there are the famous cheerleaders, as you and I both know, who got, we were there too long. They got, by the end of the picture, I almost was tempted to ask one of them out. I mean, they were gorgeous, some of us. They looked like the Supremes.
They were so into this thing, Burt.
Watch this. This is really Nitschke. Sticks his head in the wall. I mean, he likes this. He wanted to do this shot 100 times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just so you'll know, we've posted armed guards all along the wall and around the running track there.
Eddie Albert's smart enough just to say this like I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. And just so if you would like hot dogs or bananas.
Wandering off with the crowd.
Have a nice game.
Have a nice game. You'll be shot if you try to escape.
We will shoot you. Have a nice game, boy.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I remember one of the critics when the movie came out said it was.
See you on the field, superstar.
Uh-huh.
One of the critics said we were paralleling Richard Nixon. And I looked at the guy and said, what is he talking about? They mentioned Little American Flag and the corruption when Nixon was in the middle of the soup. They read everything into this.
Yeah, of course they do.
Of course, I said, well, that's what we always wanted to do when we started out. That's
a lot of people didn't know that Bob Aldrich was from the Rockefeller family.
That's right.
And did not like at all.
No, Bob was a very liberal guy.
One of the most liberal.
Yeah.
Now, this was inspirational, too. The uniforms are hot. They're really hot. There they are.
No, look at the girl there.
Yeah, they are. It was the one in the middle I had kind of just a slight crush on.
You never given her those rhinestones,
I never actually dated her or anything, but I made a lot of waves at each other. I mean...
The audiences love these girls, didn't they?
No.
First, the guard defensive unit led by Captains Rasmussen and Igor Bogdansky.
And again, this was not somebody that had done a lot.
No, the split screens?
Yeah.
No, I was surprised, actually. But Bob didn't want to lose any of this stuff.
No, he didn't.
Oh.
You and I had discussions about it.
Yeah.
It works.
You're right, though. In all of his movies, he didn't do hardly any of these things.
Now, these cats, those guys can run. Brother Jim just said
Brother Jim.
That's my brother.
I know.
Now, a lot of people ask me, why, if you're playing quarterback, did you wear number 22? That's because they have no sense of history of football. One of my favorite quarterbacks ever, and talk about a guy that lived at night and day to the fullest, was Bobby Lane. His number was number 22. He was a quarterback. One of the best college quarterbacks I ever saw in my life was Doug Flutie. His number was 22.
Flutie, yeah.
And the Flutieism, the throwing the ball at the last second and winning the game. So I said, 22, it's not usually a quarterback's number, but the two that wore it did okay.
Bert, I have one of your original shirts I saved with the 22, one of the football jerseys.
Yeah.
I've got to hang out and never give it up.
You better put that in the will for the son.
No, it's I've got it in my closet at home.
Now that guy there, Joe Don Ferguson, was a real umpire in the college, and the National Football League, and he really turned out to be a very, very good actor.
Yeah.
But my point is, he played the referee and the umpire in about 9 movies after this.
He had a career.
He had a career, but he only as an umpire, but he was good. He was really good. Look how Albert's playing embarrassment there of the cheerleaders.
The score now is Guardsman 6, Mean Machine 9.
This is a nice shot. Nice high shot. Now that guy running the ball there was a kid named Joe Jackson, who was on the Augusta semi-pro team, and they won.
What, in Georgia?
In Georgia, and they had won a lot of games. That kid could fly. As much as I really love Platoon, and I like Oliver Stone personally, that was Nitschke saying hello to me.
Yeah.
And stepping on me.
Yeah.
Which wasn't in the script, by the way.
Badansky? Who the hell's supposed to pick up the middle linebacker on a blitz?
I am.
Right.
Oliver Stone in the football movie he just moved the camera all over the place so much it drove me nuts. I want to, if you're doing a Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers picture, you want to see the feet. And they dance with their feet, not just their head. You want to see a football game, you got to be almost in this perspective.
True.
Because that's the way we're used to seeing it. On television, when we're there,
Well, the interesting thing when you watch how Bob shot, it either looks primitive or so sophisticated, he's gotten rid of all the nonsense and stayed with the meat of what the action is.
That's right. But what he has to do here is he has to get the first quarter done so fast.
Yeah.
And by using the split screen system, you do it, and yet you still got to think it's real.
But you got a sense of the game, anyhow.
Yeah, and one of the ways we made it look real was, as you know, the cons and the guards socially never got together.
Mm-hmm.
We ate separately. We didn't like each other. That was a real pass that I called, and I was so thrilled that I was able to throw it to the guy, and it was right on the money.
That was 50 yards, bro.
Well, I always say it's 50 yards. As the years have gone by, it's gotten up to 110.
Good hands. Here we go. Little showboat here. We're going to fake it. Roll out to the left on the center snap. Ready? Hey!
And the Mean Machine will now line up for the point after touchdown attempt.
Now, the defense didn't know we were running this.
Right.
So it was actually, that's why I'm actually running for my life, hoping. Oh, and this was a funny story. I mean, he really is getting PO'd because he thinks, Reynitsky thinks, I'm in the Hall of Fame and I'm being made a fool of in this movie. And he's getting madder and madder. And of course,
It'd be interesting.
Guess who he had to take it out on?
I mean, as mean as Romanowski is, he'd have to watch himself with Reynitsky.
Romanowski is mean and he's amazingly philosophical about a lot of things and a fascinating guy. I love to talk to him, but he's a killer. He's a typical linebacker.
Yeah.
Nitschke, on the other hand, lived, breathed, slept football. He didn't want to talk about politics. He didn't want to talk about anything but football and the Packers. And of course, you
didn't look like you could ever hurt Reynitsky, bro. That was a fire play.
I don't think anybody ever carried him off the field.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody ever really hurt him, except the guy that hit him in the nose with a blackjack in a bar, but not in the game. That's a clothesline as well shot as I've ever seen. Now, you remember you and I having a discussion with Bob saying, you can't say this 3 times, Bob.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Remember we had this discussion?
Yeah.
And Aldrich said, you can say it 3 times.
I think he broke his fucking neck.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the 2nd time. That's the 3rd time. The old thing in vaudeville. Now he went for 4.
Camper, yeah.
If Canower drops back the punt, nail that son of a bitch good.
You got your ass. I'll get him, Shelp. We need the ball. We need the ball.
That might have been a little over the top, but it was good.
Chicken kind of football.
Give me a break, okay? Now you see that, goddammit? What are you blind or something? You're supposed to be impartial. Shit, there's supposed to be a goddamn tryout for you.
3rd and long. He likes to throw in the flat.
He can fly. That's another flyer. That's Dino Washington. Now, that's mild celebrating compared to what they do now.
Today, forget it.
Yeah.
It's a very unpretentious movie, bro.
It is.
And the set and the quality and the whole look of the thing. It's a hard, character-driven piece.
Any suggestions, sir? I think you'd better give your team a little pep talk. Yes, sir.
You got to be a football hero.
I never dreamed this would get the reaction it got in the theaters. I mean, screams.
It was screams. Screams.
What kind of football you call that?
Same kind of football you're playing.
We're gonna let your mother slide. Now we're gonna hang you out to dry.
Hey, Wilhelm. Hang loose.
Wilhelm.
Bastards are good.
All right, come on, ready? Go.
You call yourself a football team? But you candy ass. They're laughing at you right now. Right next door. Listen to that.
Ooh, what about Milwaukee? He was a bitch out there, man. The only 2 points.
Now, this is another thing that's brilliant, is he puts this scene 2 feet away from the guys. But you believe they can't hear us because the showers are...
Showers tripping, yeah.
Just what the hell do you think you're doing?
Well, you wanted a game, you got one.
I never said anything about winning.
Never said anything about losing either.
I'll spell it out for you. We've got Unger in custody. He's confessed to killing Caretaker.
What?
He said you knew all about it. Well, you didn't notify Captain Knauer, and that makes you
An accessory. I always loved the way that accessory.
You sent Caretaker to that cell. You are an accessory to murder. You could be looking at 20 years and counting.
Bullshit! There's no way in the world you can make that stick in court.
No? Mr. Crew, you could be in this institution until you are old and gray or until you're dead. Whichever comes first, I can promise you that. You're gonna lose the game. And I want a 21-point spread.
I can't do that!
Of course you can. You've done it before.
That's a chilling line.
Yeah.
You've done it before.
If I give you the 21 points, do you call off the dogs?
Great, eh?
Yeah. Now I have to say it. I have to say it. And
guys to coast. I don't want any of my men hurt.
He's made a total regeneration in his life. He only cares about the other guys.
And Eddie Albert is the most poisonous and most difficult kind of guy to fight because he's just smiling.
Yeah.
But you're not out there with us, knocking heads.
I'm afraid I'm a little too old for that.
No. You never had the guts to begin with.
See, now, to Bob and to me, that's the ultimate insult. A lot of people didn't think that was enough of an insult, but to us, if you never put a jockstrap on, you got no right to criticize, you know. And that's what we were saying. You never had the guts
it works.
You never played.
Well, you know it's true when he turns around and looks at him.
Yeah.
Hey, listen to this shit. This thinks he's rocking.
You're letting the flag down! Go out there and do something about it! Offense and defense, play together! Let's go now, come on!
That was two guys right there that were as good as it gets. Mike Henry and Joe Cap.
Joe Cap.
You've just been guaranteed a 21-point spread.
What?
Because of your marvelous performance, I was forced to make a deal with Mr. Crew.
I know in the second half we can beat this team.
I'm not interested in discussing what you think might happen in the second half. You'll do as I told you, and Mr. Crew will do as I told him.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you and your metal midgets are 21 points ahead, I want you to inflict as much painful damage on the prisoners as is humanly possible. So you understand, before this game is over, I want every prisoner in this institution to know what I mean by power. And who controls it.
He has uncorked a dangerous situation here. If the convicts win, his authority's diminished, and now he realizes it. He better prove to these convicts that he is the power. The guards run this place.
Yeah.
And he wants them really hurt and humiliated.
Well, he also wants to prove to them that without Crew,
yeah,
they are nothing.
No, they're nothing. He's broken them.
Yeah. And that's the real deal there. They were really trying to stop him, and you can tell the difference when.
Hey, man, I own that hamburger out there. Get rid of it. And I was open all day long, man. Can't you see?
All right, knock it off. I'm calling the police.
guys out. All right. No sweat. It's no problem.
There's not a lot of wasted motion in getting to where Bob has to get now.
No.
You know?
No.
Everything is lean. Get you move it.
Come on, we'll get it back.
Stick it to him. He's gonna choke.
Pass off, and it's short. The pass is short, and it's picked off by number 21. We got it. For the score. It's another touchdown for the Guards, bringing that score to 28 for the Guardsmen to 13.
Now Scarborough gets it.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell was that all about?
I'm having a bad day. It's a bad day. I'm having a bad day. You get off my back.
Ball snapped back, and there's a fumble. Fumble!
What is that? Go in there and call yourself for? Why'd you change uniform? Bullshit.
Now it's going to be very lonely on the bench.
Yeah.
He's limping badly. He's limping off the field.
Pop Stedman's gone out to meet him and is bringing him to the bench.
And we may have seen the last of Paul Crew for today.
Get his shoe off and take a look at that ankle.
I'd like to give him one of my MGs. I'd knock his head off. I could be inside making the wallets.
It doesn't feel like anything's broken. Somebody step on it, or did you twist it? Twisted it.
Golden boy, superstar. Think we caught Granny for this scrap. Really sold us out, didn't you, crew?
Hell, anybody could see you throwing the game.
Now he's got his 21 points.
Yeah.
Now I
the
think
deal's made.
Yeah. Now why is he turning the dogs loose?
The score remains 35 for the Guardsmen and 13 for the Mean Machine.
Get that Indian mother! Get that Indian mother! Come on, skinny leg! Good blocking! Keep it out! Come on there, come on!
Ball 3rd and 2 on their own 37-yard line. Sauer brings the pass, and he puts it up in the air to Levitt, number 33. That's the ball, and he's going to Mean Machine territory. He's all the way down to the Mean Machine 30-yard line, where he's brought down by Conley.
Jesus Christ.
Another injury, come on. Player number 74, Chuck Stewart.
This is a guy that was used to being in wrestling matches.
Wrestling pepper, yeah.
And understands where to put the blood.
He was 50 years old, you said.
Yeah, he was 50 years old, yeah.
Sonny Tannen, number 58, seems to have badly shaken up.
Drive, baby, son of a bitch!
Get a man down! Get a man!
Hey, superstar. What kind of a deal did you make this time?
Well, what did Hazen promise you? And they're killing those guys out there. And you don't even care.
You know, he's right, Crew. Man, you fooled the hell out of me. You put my trust in you and you let me down like this. Like, I know you don't give a shit about nothing. But I didn't think you'd sell us out.
Hey, Granny, better get back in there.
Nice face, huh?
Nice face and a nice reading.
Yeah, nice actor.
He couldn't have done that any better.
Look, 4-3 inside Frank. Ready? Hey! Hey! Hey!
48-yard line. Ball goes to Lauer. He hands off to Morgan. Morgan makes the play. Swings to his left. He's picked up another yard.
What is it? Broken collarbone. You sure?
I'm sure today officials are trying to break up that fight. It's getting real up in there. Second, son of a bitch. Randy Granville is hurt. He's holding his shoulder. He appears to be very badly hurt there. Probably is a broken bone there somehow or other. He is on his feet.
Satisfied now.
Oh, Jesus, Sonny.
Well, the officials are now going to assess a penalty. It's going to be 15 yards for unsportsmanlike conduct. 15 yards.
Hey, Pop. Yeah? That time you hit Hazen in the mouth. Was it worth it? Was it worth 30 years? Yeah. For me, it was. Well, give me my goddamn shit.
First and he's still got it. Slack still got it. Wake up,
Now, for this to be believable, I had to go back in, and none of these guys could believe that I was really going to try to win the game. And so I had to take some pretty good pops here.
You know, it's funny, what always works in a movie, everyone in the audience, Burt, knows you're going to win this game at this point, because that's the kind of hero. But they know the obstacles, and they're sitting there waiting for it in every single play you do.
Well, I'm going to have to win it by taking hits like this and getting up. And first of all, I got proved to these guys. That particular hit was the real deal, and I really did get that crap. And I remember two guys were laughing, and I heard Nitschke say, "Don't hurt Burt." And I thought, oh, how nice. And as I walked past him, he went, "That's my job."
Were you wearing anything under that shirt?
No.
They didn't have flak jackets in those days.
Oh, no. There was that. And if they had them, I wouldn't have put it on because, it would have been too obvious.
Yeah.
The only thing I wore were the elbow pads. And this is when the rest of the guys think,
maybe, yeah.
I think the son of a bitch is really trying to win the game. Ooh, that was a hit. That was a hell of a hit.
Jack your left! Jack your...
And guess who did it?
Yeah.
Oh, man, when he kiss you. Mm.
Well, there's a figure that graced the polo grounds for years.
Well, what are you guys so surprised about? Huh? You didn't think I was gonna let you have all the fun, did you?
Bootleg on one. Ready? Wait.
Okay, come on now. Look good in there. Keep it alive, keep it alive.
Set!
I mean, obviously, Bob's storyboarded every play. I'm just I can't imagine that we didn't use everything he had in moving the teams up and down, did we?
Well, no. We actually didn't storyboard, which is the magic of this movie, is how the hell we were going to make it believable. That's Ray Ogden. How the hell we were going to make it believable that we get to the 1 yard line and get stopped.
Uh-huh.
And this is when I knew we had... the gods were on our side because we called a tackle eligible, and I throw the ball to Ernie Wheelwright,
yeah,
who really was trying to score the touchdown.
Really?
And about 4 guys jumped on him, and he just gave him a ride, and he finally fell on the 1-yard line. And so
that's where it was.
That's when Aldrich jumped up and down and said, "We got it. This is it. This is the name of the movie. This is where we try to do it."
Oh, so he didn't storyboard it coming down?
No, he didn't.
I heard it pop clear across the field. Let's get him up.
You'll be all right, Dave. Hang in.
We had a play plan where, we would get stopped on the 1-yard line, but the fact that it happened that way and it was a real play, you had to go with it. I mean,
absolutely. No, it's real.
Don't worry, he'll get his.
I love this.
One of the most beloved men this institution.
Even the announcer's changing sides now. This is things like you and I recognize immediately. That shot, there were no tire tracks before the stretcher.
That you see it, yeah.
He did it one take.
That's it.
Yeah.
Blue Eyes here can kick the ball 10 yards. You think one of you bastards can fall on it?
Right on, man. Right on.
Well, let's go.
Charlie Blue Eyes approaches the ball, and he moves it. It's an onside kick pass. There's a... Benny Fuqua recovers for the Mean Machine.
Can we take him? Split right. On 2. Ready?
That's called a serpentine huddle. The old UCLA used to do it. Red Sanders introduced it 100 years ago. And
it looks good.
We practiced it one day, and Bob loved it, so we put it in. That's Sonny Six Killer throwing me back the ball.
A beautiful piece of razzle-dazzle. All crew reached into his bag of tricks that time, folks. Early Blue Eye splits the uprights, and that makes it now 35 to 25.
Easy.
How we doing?
There you go, Nate.
Now, how similar is the new one to this, Burt, with your part? Is it
after
you break your leg?
After I get hurt, I don't go to the infirmary. I watch the rest of the game with them, and it was very nice of Adam because he wanted to have the last moment, of that going through the tunnel, which is like the John Ford shot in The Searchers.
Sure.
And he wanted that to be Adam and I.
Oh, that's great.
And it I don't know if it'll end up that way in the movie, but that's why we shot it. And it was a beautiful shot.
Oh, no.
That's the old serpentine.
Yep.
Now this drop kick, this is when Nitschke originally in the script comes up and says, "What the hell was that?" And I'm supposed to say, "That was a drop kick, you stupid son of a bitch." Watch this.
3 points.
3 points?
3 points.
For that?
Now you notice I didn't call him a stupid son of a bitch because after the rehearsal he said, "Don't call me that." And I went, "Bob? Oh, Bob." And we cut it.
Whatever you say.
Whatever you say, Ray. Now this is Joe Jackson, and they really are trying to tackle him.
Yeah.
This kid is amazing. They really were trying to tackle him. He was the guy that I was hoping would get all the way down to the 1 yard line.
Quiet down. All right, now listen to me.
I must say, looking back at it, Burt, I'm really impressed with the quality of the football. Without being fancy.
No, without being fancy.
It's tough.
There's a couple plays, that we could have done even tougher, even tougher. but 90% of it is real, and that's
It's
why
real.
Ditka loved it and those kind of guys.
Yeah.
Now this, I threw that ball. I was throwing it pretty good, and I had to throw it right at the lens, right here, bang. And I threw it, take one, take two, take three, as hard as I could. And I thought, Pappy, I might break the lens. And he gave me one of those tongue and hanging out of the mouths and says, I don't think so. I was throwing it just to prove he was wrong, as hard as I could.
Yeah. That would work.
Okay, we got 15. Huddle up on the ball. Come on, let's huddle up.
This got a huge laugh.
Yeah.
It's the left behind.
Unbelievable.
Hey, Bog, come on, get yourself out of here. Come on.
I know what I'm doing.
Worked once. Ought to work again, right?
And I broke myself up here. I really started laughing. I mean, that's real. It wasn't one of those acting things.
Yeah.
Oh.
Set! Hut! Ball goes back to clean passes.
Oh, hits Modansky with the ball right in the...
Once again, Modansky is the Queen Machine
He's not breathing.
Well, do something, man. Try mouth to mouth.
You want to?
No way.
Ambulance, help!
That's a real doctor. That was a real doctor from Augusta.
Yeah.
Carlucci.
God, these girls were inspired.
Weren't they?
He pushed off! He pushed off! Where you go? You can't see! You blind son of a bitch!
Hey, walking
What's
ball.
going on here?
Hey,
God
walking
damn it.
balls.
Hey, man!
You're giving him the ball game. Are you
Cap was right. He did push it off.
He was one of the semi-pros that actually played football, that heavy-set guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He was.
Yeah.
Let's take it in. Let's take it in. You want to hit somebody?
His name was George Jones, Big George.
Big George, yeah.
Talk to me.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
I'm one step off the line.
All right, this is a tackle eligible. This is the one I told you about. Now, you watch these guys trying to tackle him. They're trying to tackle him.
And he was going to try to take it in, right?
Yeah, he's trying to take it in. But we thought he'd get tackled after 5 yards. We didn't know he was going to make it to... Now, but look, he caught it with one hand. There's one guy, two guys, three guys. That's a 1 yard line. When you have that happen, you got to go with it.
Providence.
You got to go with it. And this one of the things that happens here is we've got 4 downs to get it 1 yard.
The 1 yard.
And I've never thrown the ball better in my life. In fact, one is a running. I run to the right and throw the ball right, and the guy had to drop it because it would have been a touchdown. And, and we wanted to do it on the 4th down.
You know, one of the other things that was unique in the film, for the final run, we got the special camera that hadn't been used before. There was an ultra-high-speed slow-mo camera that had been used in the Olympics. No one had ever used it in film before.
Well, I'll show you something that a lot of people don't see in that slow-motion shot. That's absolutely amazing. Now, you know, I told you my brother is playing guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the last play, not this play, this is a rollout pass. On the last play that we did in that slow motion, we run to our right, thinking we're going to score on the right side.
Yeah.
And when we go to our right, it's blocked, and we turn around and start running back.
Crossfield.
Now, my brother's number is 65. He's my brother. Watch the feet of number 65 and my feet as they touch the ground as we come around. And when my left foot hits the ground, his left foot hits the ground. When my right foot hits the ground, his right foot hits the ground. It's uncanny when you see it.
Really?
It's the play after this play. This is where I go over to the sidelines and say, you know, we got to win the game.
Do it for caretaker.
And Purvis Atkins, Bob Aldrich said, we ran the play, gosh, I don't know, 10 times. I couldn't get in. And because what Bob told the defense is, don't let him score. Because he wanted it to look like I really scored. So Purvis said, you know, you love to jump. Step on my back. So that's exactly, you didn't know that. You'll see it. When I run to the right and I turn and start coming back in that tandem with my brother, I'm looking for old Purvis to be my bridge. And I see this guy's butt sticking up in the air. And my foot, I hit his butt with my foot, and I'm airborne. Wow. And that's in slow motion.
I didn't know that.
I'm up higher than I've ever been. And that's why the celebration is so incredible and real, because we've been running that damn play. And Aldrich said, you'll run this play today until you score.
And he told the guys, don't let you in.
Don't let us score. So we got to go home early, but we'd have been there right now, still running the play if we had scored. Now, watch. This is the play. Step back. We can't hear. That really happened. That really was nice. It was a nice moment. These are great cuts, Al.
Great cuts.
Now, 65 is my brother. Do you see him? He's pulling.
Yeah, I see.
He's pulling. Now, I'm heading to the right. It's going to be jammed. It's going to be jammed up. Now, I'm going to turn.
There you go.
I'm going to turn
There's
and
Jim.
say, I can't block him. No, shit, that ain't going to work. I'm going to turn around. Let's turn around. Let's turn around. Let's turn around. This is cut so well. Yeah. Now right here, now I'm going back the other way. Now look, watch our feet.
I'm watching. Yeah, well.
That foot, that foot.
Yeah.
That foot, that foot. That's a brother,
God,
two
I never
brothers.
realized
You never
that before.
saw it before, did you? Now I'm looking for Purvis's ass. I see it. I see his ass. I'm going airborne. Right, coming up, I see his ass. I'm going to step on him. You can barely see him, which is why it works so well. There's his ass. Flying over him. And I'm in. That's why this celebration is so real, because we really scored on these. We're so excited that we don't have to run this friggin' play again.
How many times did you run it?
About 10 times.
And they were really taking you out.
They were knocking the hell out of us.
Ladies and gentlemen, like the fabled phoenix of old.
Now, you know, up behind there, just for a little side information, up there in that end zone, is Dinah Shore.
Oh, is Dinah
with
there?
My mother and father.
Oh, that's so
at
great.
that very moment.
They came from the end.
Yeah. And Dinah Shore is probably the only woman that could walk into a prison and murderers just go, how are you, Miss Shaw?
And they respected her,
and
too.
she'd go, hi, how are you? Now, as you remember in the original script, when I go back to get the game ball, it's when
the warden says, shoot him.
He blows my head off.
Because when we were developing it originally, you figured he sacrificed everything to win the game. But what was his prospects, Burt? Got to be in jail for 25 years. That was grim.
Yeah, it was grim.
But the truth and fact is, you love this character so much that if we would have killed him, they would have torn the screen down.
They would. The audience would have been
torn the screen,
really bugged. And I remember the day Aldrich told me. He said, hell, we're going to have to let you live. And it was almost like he was PO'd about it.
Oh, yeah, no. It had a great sense of tragedy that plays good on the foreign market.
Yes.
Tragique in France.
Yeah.
Right? People actually thought, Burt, that you were going to get shot.
I've had a lot of people tell me that they thought.
Yeah, you expect them to be killed.
Louder is wonderful here because you know he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, you're just waiting for him to get killed.
I have to tell you, Adam Sandler picked the ball up, tossed it up. He must have he must have memorized every toss.
Did he have the torn jersey with the laces?
Everything. It's out of such respect, and to the film and to us, and he did a fantastic job. And Eddie Albert, to hear him scream at the top of his lungs.
Oh no, you're convinced he's going to be, no doubt.
Stick this in your trophy case.
Now this is one of my favorite shots from The Searchers.
Yeah, going
John
away
Ford.
through the tunnel.
Well, it's the light and dark all around you. Remember John Wayne standing in the doorway?
Sure.
It's the same shot. Right there.
Yeah.
That's a great shot. Well, I got to tell you something, partner. I loved watching it with you. It was. I thought I do know every frame, but it sure was fun watching it with you.
Burt, I thought I knew every frame too until you start pointing out the last run with you and your brother was it looks like a choreographed
It
piece.
looks like a choreograph, like it looks like two Clydesdales.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those guys, we were so close, and some of them to this day I still hear from.
I want to thank everybody for joining us. I hope you've had as much fun or as much pleasure as I've had, not only looking at the movie with fresh eyes, but listening to Burt talk about it, because to me, The Longest Yard was Burt Reynolds and will always be Burt Reynolds.
Thank you, Alan. And I thank everybody for all the support over the years, and it means everything in the world to me. And I love this picture, and obviously somebody in your family does, or you wouldn't have bought this album in the first place.
I hope you enjoyed that classic film commentary. Sometimes you can see a film from a whole new perspective and appreciate the work that goes into the making of some of our favorite films. And do me a huge favor. Help support the channel by subscribing, clicking on that like button. It goes a long way in keeping the channel active. Thanks for making it to the end of this video, and I hope to bring you back for another video soon. For now, Gator out. Watch for new movie reviews and documentary series. Don't forget to subscribe and click on that bell so you know when new reviews arrive.